The barriers have not been in terms of organisationally locally, but where we have undertaken applied research to solve some of the environmental problems that are specific locally and indeed generalisable to elsewhere internationally. The nature of that work is difficult to fund because this is often applied research that's moving towards commercialisation. Mm-hmm. So some of the policies of HEFCE in terms of supporting HEFCE and its recent funding there is really very much moving in the right direction to removing that sort of barrier, but it's still financially a barrier.
Mm. The biggest problem with sustainable development is the concept. I think that because there is no agreed definition of it, because it covers such a vast array of topics, and because I think it can all sound very abstract, so that when you say, what do you do in sustainable development, I think it can begin to look quite puzzling until you start to think of practical examples in particular areas.
I suppose it's Nike's motto, just do it. We tend to get ankle deep in strategies. I think you have to have a strategy clearly, but equally you've got to have people who will actually get on and do things and almost sort of reverse engineer the strategy if you have to. We know it's the right thing to do. It's not rocket science either, just get on and do it.
Well, importantly, in the first instance, I was mandated by my college council to actually move it up the college agenda. So a disparate group of people came together, and they were people from academia, from different professional backgrounds, support staff, the gardeners, and myself and the Director of Finance. So we brought different skills, different agendas. There was an ethical agenda. We certainly wanted to make the business case for sustainability. And what we did was decided we needed not a whole raft of strategies and policies, but some very quick wins that would show the community what we could achieve together. And from that, we would then develop our policy commitments.
One of the greatest helps has been European funding through ERDF and ESF funding, which is available to fund work in that area. The university has been able to utilise that opportunity to pursue some of these developments.
There's also a need, I think, for greater expertise within the sector. One of the things that we're finding is that one can talk about generating electricity, but if you don't know enough about the systems for doing that, or the ways in which the economics stack up, then you can get yourselves into very difficult situations. And whilst there are consultants out there who can help, finding the right consultant for the job may not always be as straightforward as it first looks. Mm-hmm. So I think that making sure you have a broad expertise of staff within the institution, and that they're wanting to really get behind the agenda and do something positive for the institution to affect change, is a key thing that we have found that we need to try and do.
I think the biggest challenge as always is finding a champion, because unless somebody is willing to really sort of do the hard yards in American football terms, unless somebody's willing to do that, then it's very difficult to make progress. I suppose initially it was championed from the physical resources side, because it was mainly to do with energy and waste use. Mm-hmm. But we have identified champions, plural, on the academic side that work with us, and they are the ones really now driving forward, because they've really got a belief in what they're trying to do.
I think curriculum is quite hard in some ways, because you've got to be able to translate it in terms of delivery, and also you've got to think about how to integrate it within the curriculum. Now, I think you can do it in particular areas, and I think you can do it in relation, for example, to leadership skills concerning sustainability, which will then mean on graduation people will take up roles which will allow them to develop capacity. But of course, that all has to be translated into something that is real and deliverable, and that, I think, is the task that people have to engage in.
Thoughtful use of capital funding. That has been vital, because we've used that to lever in funding from the DTI. We're bidding all the time to DEFRA and other sources for other types of money. And I think that's useful because it provides a focus for sustainability work. It doesn't take a lot of money to really try and lever in other sources.
I don't think I can point a figure and say this has been a wonderful impact on the institution. It's just normal mainstream business and the way you do things. and it's part of being, I suppose, a good member of society, which universities, I think, take very seriously indeed, and how it husbands its resources, but not just for now, but for the future, because universities have been around for a long time. They tend to be around for a long time. They see themselves as, where appropriate, trying to lead public opinion, giving examples, so it's part of natural business.